What's up, family? It's your girl, Melissa D, your activation specialist, and welcome to another week of the Activation Hour. I am excited. I've had an amazing week. You had a good week, y'all? I hope you did. Well, I'm so glad that you decided to tune in today on the Activation Hour to learn about and hear about our topic, Fit for the Fight. And guys, I'm telling you, this is more than a story about getting our lives together, being healthy and being fit, but it's the story about how to be better all the way around in your life. And so I am so excited to be joined live here from Illinois, my boy, Marlo Whitlow. Good afternoon, Marlo. How you doing? Awesome, awesome. Courtney, I can't hear him. Can't hear him. All right, Marlo, you there with me?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Awesome. All right, that's what's up. So, Marlo, I'm so excited to see you. I haven't seen you since April when we were at Kankakee High School, your alma mater, right?
Right. That's
yeah,
right.
we had a
Class of
chance.
91.
We had a chance. We met through the E3 event. Shout out to Erica Lee and just the awesome program there. And I got to tell the people just really how you inspired me when we first met. So we met at this event for the youth. We really just rocked it out. He and I were fellow speakers for the event. And you know what? I love how this brother shows up and supports. His testimony is amazing, and we're going to get to that. But as powerful and dynamic as he is, he's so humble. He sat in on my session with Righting Our Wrongs and my nonprofit to work with the youth. And what blessed me was he didn't just like peek in and see what Melissa was doing. He stayed and supported. So I want to thank you so much for supporting me and what we're doing. And I equally want to thank and support you too. So thank you so much.
No problem.
Absolutely.
No problem. It was a blessing. It truly was a blessing.
Awesome. Wow. Well, let's talk about this blessing in your book. Look, guys, you got to go get this book. I've literally... I make a point, if I have guests on the show who are authors, I definitely read through the book. I get an understanding in the background behind the book because every book is birthed from something you went through, a life experience, and everyone has a story within them. But Marlo's book, Half the Man, y'all, we're going to talk about how Low lost it. That's his hashtag. Look up hashtag Low lost it. And so let me just tell you a little bit about the dynamic author, personal trainer, motivational speaker, Mr. Marlo Whitlow. He hails from Kankakee, Illinois, and is the epitome of his book, Half the Man, literally at one point being 500 pounds and losing half of his weight. In that, it was a journey on how he gained just some life lessons in becoming a better man, a better leader, better provider, father, husband, all of these things. Through all of that, though, he remained positive. In the book, it's real. I read it, and because I know Marlo, I literally kind of read it in his voice of like him telling me the story about his life, and so I did. It was cool. It felt like a conversation with a friend. Definitely a positive, absolutely positive brother. Please go follow him, follow his journey. Basically, after years of sharing his story, he shared it for years on social media, his journey, not just of weight loss, but even how it affected him personally, his family and everything. He was convinced to write a book. And that's what said, oftentimes, if you guys are going through something right now, if you're in the fight of your life, whether it be in business, health, relationships,
Amen. You're
going through that fight because it's making you fit for something else. And so in this journey, Marlo wrote a book about what he just went through. He doesn't hold anything back in the book or in person, so he's going to tell you about that. He's currently a certified personal trainer, a gym manager, and you're going to hear his story, how he even got to that, okay? He didn't even set out to do that. He was just trying to lose weight, and it led to his purpose. I love it. Also, just really inspiring people to live longer. You know, he's definitely an advocate for health, for healthy living, healthy lifestyle, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. It will definitely make you think about the food you eat. And that's kind of like a buzz thing right now. Like everybody's either vegan or like there's this documentary going around like basically scaring people out of eating bad things. But he's going to be honest about what it does to your body and just to your life. So again, welcome to you, Marlo Whitlow. Can I call you Lo? Because I feel like we friends. You know what I'm saying?
That's you sure can. You sure can.
All right, Lo lost it, y'all. So just want to kind of dig right in. So the show is called The Activation Hour. And family, those of you who tune in every week, I always start off by I always really dig in with my guests. What's your activation hour? And really an activation hour, remember, is going from your old to your new. There's a season in our lives when we know that we'll never be the same. Like you just kind of die to your old self, right? What was your activation hour? And you've probably had multiple activation hours as you describe, or you call them aha moments. But what was your activation hour in your journey?
My initial first thought of losing weight, I was going to the doctor. I had regular doctor visits. I was on 6 different medications, 3 for diabetes, 2 for high blood pressure, 1 for actual pain in my knee because I was so big. And every time I went to the doctor, his diagnosis, how he diagnosed me was that you're too fat. That was his answer to everything.
Wow.
But after my 3rd medication, he said, Marlo, if this doesn't work, you're going to insulin. And I had for years watched my grandma take insulin. And I didn't want that. Many of my family members were diabetic. I was following suit with it, and I just no longer wanted to have that. So that was one of the aha moments. The other was kind of like I was doing photography. I had a photography business. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I asked one of my buddies to borrow his truck. It was a Ford F-150. What you call a bigger size pickup truck. And I got the keys. I went out to the truck, and I got in, and I couldn't, the steering wheel and the seat were too close, and I couldn't fit. And when I went back in and asked him how to scoot the seat back, and he told me it was all the way back.
Wow.
That was kind of an embarrassing moment. And then, also the fact that I couldn't get the seatbelt on, and the steering wheel was touching my stomach, so I couldn't drive the truck anyway. So that was a big aha moment for me.
Wow. So it was like several wake up calls. It was a health scare, an embarrassing moment, and both things that no one really wants to face. It's like no one wants to be embarrassed. No one wants to wonder, like, man, am I going to live? Is my lifestyle going to change? And so that's powerful. Now, there's obviously a period of time, a journey that took place over several years between having that moment in your life that you just described and then getting to the book. Tell me and we'll get to all the stuff in between. But fast forward, what led you to write the book, Half the Man I Was?
Well, I had a friend that had wrote several books, and he had been following me on Facebook over the years and seeing my journey. He was like, I love what you're doing. I've been watching you for years. Actually, was a classmate of mine I graduated with. His name was Quinn. And what happened was I kind of shared the story of what I was doing with my life. And he was the one that convinced me to go dig deep into all the dirt. Because once upon a time I was out there in the street selling drugs, and there was weight involved. So he's like, well, you transform your life from selling weight and losing weight. So you transformed in different ways with the same thing. You went from selling weight to losing weight. And he kind of said, that's important. People need to know that they can go from actually having a bad life to actually being positive life for other people, helping other people.
That's so powerful. I like the way you put it. You went from selling weight to losing weight, and literally, it was you made a decision, man. That's so powerful. Now, I like that you talk about your friend Quinn, who inspired you. Like, look, man, you need to share your story. So that just leads me to know that it matters the people that are around you and the stuff that they speak into your life. So you share in your book how easy it was to be influenced in the beginning of your journey. Like, you're at this restaurant and, these are the things you see other people do. And they're like, hey, man, you can get in on this or whatever. And so I'm not going to tell that story. I'm going to let you share. Tell us about how your circle, we talk about being fit for the fight. How do the people in your circle, your influencers, the people in the beginning of your journey, how did that change from then to now being half the man you were?
Well, I originally started the journey out actually alone, and then what happened is I seen a friend of mine, we're birthday twins, our birthdays on the same day, and she was on Facebook sharing her story about her weight loss, and her weight loss was like, she had passed me, and I really got jealous, so I called her up, and I was like, hey, what are you doing that you losing this weight so quick? And so she introduced me to a diet. I don't know which one it is, because we all have different diets we start in or go through. And it was basically understanding the macronutrients, the fat, the carbs, and the protein that I was intaking into my body. And once I started taking a look at that, for the first few months of working with her, Roxanne, I was able to lose 23, 22 pounds a month for 3 months in a row. Wow. So that kind of, I had already lost about 40 by myself prior to getting with her, but that was over a period of time. But once I started looking at the numbers and being, logging and tracking, understanding what I was putting in, that's when the shift began. So that was the start of my first diet. Wow. That actually worked.
So that's interesting. So you had someone who influenced you in terms of your health. Now, tell us about the influences in terms of your lifestyle. Like you said, going from moving weight to losing weight. How did that influence change from the street influence to now this new life you have?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, I got involved in network marketing. I was running around town losing weight. I had lost approximately 120 pounds. Wow. And there was a guy that was doing network marketing. He was walking around town, and he ran into one of my friends in his business, and I said, I'm looking to help people lose weight with this program. I want to share it with you. And he said, you want to talk about losing weight in this town, you got to talk to Marlo. So he was able to get him to call me, and once he called me, I met up with him. I dodged him for a while because I had already lost weight prior to talking to him. So I was like, I really don't need to hear what he's talking about. But when I did get with him, I sat down with him, and he said, you have an amazing story, and you can share this with other people, and not only do what you're doing for you, but help others do the same thing. So that kind of got my attention that, I would be able to change from just doing it for myself as to, doing others. And, network marketing, despite what some people say about it, the atmosphere of people is very positive. So you can learn a lot.
That's true.
Next thing you know, I'm reading books, listening to motivational speeches, quotes, doing that type of thing. So that was the moment that changed me from doing it for myself to actually wanting to help other people do it.
I love that. I mean, you literally went from, street influences to, a fast lifestyle to people that said, well, no, let me show you how you can have a rich lifestyle in terms of like you said, reading motivational books, listening to motivational speeches and being in a circle that it started with your mind, right? It was mental.
Correct. If you don't have the right mindset, it doesn't really matter how much you can get started on. You can be motivated to get started, but you have to have the passion to keep on going with it. If you don't, then you just won't do it. It's many years that I started. I'm gonna lose weight. I take a picture every year for 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
On New Year's Eve, and that picture, I actually put together a collage of it, and you'll see like I'm big. Then finally I start losing some weight, but it takes more than you say you're going to do it. You have to actually, make that choice. So
absolutely, and that leads me kind of into my next question about, when I chose the topic "Fit for the Fight," it's I wanted people to understand this is more than about a weight loss journey. Whatever your fight is, your fight was with food, right? For some people, and the fight was okay with the street or a lifestyle. For some people, that fight may be, self-esteem, generational issues, alcoholism, whatever the case may be. And it doesn't matter whatever that demon is or that thing is you're fighting. There's some core things you share in your book that you had to get in position within your life so you could be half the man, right? And we just talked about mentally. It was what you put in your head, what you're listening to, the people you're talking to. What are some other ways, either spiritually and physically, that you became fit? What was maybe the spiritual aspect of that to get fit?
Well, just kind of the whole. I've been going to church so many years of my life, and so it wasn't a new thing for me. I had just lost my way for some time. But once I start programming myself from the beginning of my day, just meaning like I literally have my alarm clock set to play gospel music every morning, because when I wake, that's what I want to wake me. Sometimes I wake up prior to it. I wake up every morning at 4 a.m. To get my day started. But just to have that positive influence starting my day off and kind of keep myself away from negative programming. I mean, I really, literally do not watch the news. I try. I mean, if their motto is if it leads, it leads. I don't want to hear that. I want to know what's going on in my world and what's going on everywhere else. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter to me, and that's a controversial topic in itself. People get very angry with me because I don't want to see these things, but it's just my mind. I don't want to. I've done it, so I don't need to see it on somebody else's life.
Yeah. I want to draw some parallels for our listeners, for our audience. I want you guys to understand what Lo is talking about here is it's all about what you feed yourself mentally. What are you putting into your mind? What stimulus or what agitator? Sometimes, I like when you tell the story about getting a job and you and your wife had the conversation about go work at McDonald's. You're like, are you kidding me? I'm trying to lose weight, and you want me to go work in fast food? That's like telling the crackhead go back into the crack house and don't. That story was so funny.
That's what KFC did to me.
Yeah. It was funny, but it's like, but the reality is, some people, because of a desperate situation, to go back to what's familiar, and you have to be careful about what you feed yourself mentally, what environment you put yourself in physically. So how are you feeding yourself physically, right? That's another way that you need to be fit for the fight. And there are oftentimes, even for me, there are places I won't go. It may seem harmless, and it may be that, okay, well, we're just going to go hang out. Or this is so-and-so's birthday party. That's great. I love you. I can't go. So because I have to be physically fit for the fight. Or you even said, I like how the reason why you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning is because you had a job that started early at like 6 or 6:15. And you said, you know what? I'm going to push myself to get up earlier then. If I really want this, I got to get it. I got to get it. And so, and even spiritually, that I think I personally believe, especially in ministry, there's a spiritual component where if your spirit is broken, a lot of the other things won't fall in place, right? So you said you've been in church and you realigned that part of your life. And so that's an awesome testimony. I want to touch on one other thing you shared in the book, which was powerful for me. This was I not only highlighted it, I think I like dog-eared it, and I really wanted to expand upon. You tell a story in the book about your experience with the law, right? And how you were incarcerated for a very short period of time, and you said, and when you were, and I want y'all to catch this, that he said, you were more worried about the food because the food was so bad in jail. You were more worried about the food than your own freedom. And you had even told a friend or relative, somebody like, man, get me out of here. The food is horrible. And it's funny, but it's not. It's funny because it's like literally the thing that mattered to you was more than your freedom in your mind at the time. So how did you break free from that bondage of food and whatever it was that kept you in that place?
I mean, just over. I wasn't like incarcerated. Like I guess I was. I was in jail.
You in jail?
And I was going to stay there until somebody paid the amount of money that had to be paid for me to get out. And once I I don't know. For me, I didn't even think about the fact I was locked up. It was like, you want something to eat, and they gave it to me. And they're like, what is this? I mean, it was roast beef, but it was like brown and green, and like, I can't eat this. I'm used to eating lobster every day and seafood and good stuff, crab legs, and I didn't. I might have skated around the question you asked me.
No. But you would, and for you at that time though, that was your thing. It was like, okay, if I'm happy, I ate. If I'm sad, I ate. Like, and so to be in a situation where you didn't have the freedom to eat what you wanted, and at that time, and in the conversation that you talk about in the book, it was like, look, it wasn't so much get me out of here because I'm in jail. It was get me out of here because I'm not about to eat this food. So that was a mindset. I told them I'm diabetic. They gonna kill me in here. You know what? We can laugh about that given where you are now in life. What I'm thinking about as I'm talking to you about this right now, thinking about our boy Prodigy, from Mobb Deep, and God rest his soul. I saw an interview recently. He recently passed away from sickle cell, complications of sickle cell. And in that interview, he talks about like how dangerous the food is, like, in the prison system. He has sickle cell. He had a health ailment, and he's like, I can't eat this. So he literally ended up like writing a cookbook about how to, like, his family, they would have to send him fresh fruits and vegetables and like stuff that he couldn't get on the inside. And so it's just crazy. Like, literally, there are people out here with health ailments that have to eat to live. Like, they can eat stuff that, like you said, a diabetic, they mess around and have the wrong sugar intake, and it'll take them out of here. You know what I mean? So it's a mindset, and it's, okay, how do I live the best life and make better choices? And I think that's what I got out of that. It was like, man, it wasn't even about the food. It was, I need to get out of here so I can make a better choice. That's what I got from it in the book.
Yeah.
So what? Tell us a little bit about, if you don't mind sharing, your time working at KFC and how that affected your journey.
So when I first started working at KFC, I was slightly bigger than I should have been, but I wasn't as big as I had gotten. But I was the cook, and the cook got to taste everything he cooked. So for some reason, every batch of chicken that came out the grease, I had to make sure it was safe for the customer.
You were quality control.
That's what I was doing. Make sure I was quality control. So it became a point where I was making like huge biscuits just for no reason at all. Wow. And putting slabs of butter on them. I mean, at home as a kid, we would crack the biscuit open and put a piece of butter in there, and I started doing the same thing at KFC. I'd make a huge biscuit and put the butter on the inside. But it ultimately led to being surrounded with chicken and food and greasy food all the time, because there were people in the front register making money off of selling the chicken. Apparently, the owner was not paying attention to anything, and they were just pocketing money. And that's when my kind of, I guess you can call my life of crime began, because I had really done nothing, stealing, selling drugs, or anything like that prior to that. That was the farthest thing from my mind. But these guys were going to trips to just trips all over the world. One girl paid for schooling. I just Wow. It was amazing. And I took a look at it, and I started selling chicken out the back door, the side door, because I wasn't at a register, so I sold chicken out the back door. And then at the end of the night, I made extra chicken, and I took it over there across the street where the dope boys were hanging out, and I sold chicken to them. Some nights I didn't sell a lot of chicken, so guess what? I had to take it home. So it was buckets of chicken at home, chicken at work. Everywhere I went, it was just chicken everywhere. Fried chicken.
You became a chicken man, right?
It was everywhere.
Wow. You know what? I like your boy. I think you said his name was Quinn. He was like, you went from selling weight to losing weight, where you went from, slinging wings to, selling weight to losing weight.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's such a blessing. God is so amazing that you can laugh about that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so powerful. Man, look, I don't even want to take a break because this is just getting so good, but I'm going to take a quick break. I want to come back in a few minutes And we talked about the past and the journey that got you here. I want to talk about who you are today and dig more into not half the man I was, but the whole man you are today. So, family, we're going to take a quick break, just a few announcements real quick. We are still looking for interns. So, calling all college students, as long as you're 18 or older, we want to bring you onto the team here. If you want develop skills in social media, business development skills, communications, media, we want you here. So please send your resume over to us at 108praiseradio@gmail.com so you can join the 108 Praise family. Also, we are ready to celebrate. Woo! Yes, 108 Praise Radio has a new home. I love that we are now broadcasting from our new radio station studio location. We're going to celebrate our new location on Saturday, August 19th. Mark your calendars. Come see us here from 1 to 5 p.m. For the address and more information, text the word info to 405-586-5251. You can also follow us online, 108 Praise Radio, on all social media to get more information about our celebration. Last announcement, guys, I'm activating purpose. I'm your activation specialist. So join me for my webinar on activating purpose, going from ideas to execution. You can go to my website, melissadwhite.info. Register for free, free 99. I'm not even charging you. I'm going to tell you about my life and how I went from, living one way to living on purpose. And so, family, with that, we're just going to take a quick break so we can listen to music from our artists, and you'll be right back on the Activation Hour with Melissa D. We'll be back. Up, family? You are now tuned into the second half of the Activation Hour. I'm your girl, Melissa D, joined here by Marlo Whitlow. My boy Lo lost it, y'all, and he is now half the man. Check out his book. We are discussing his journey to not just weight loss, but just living a better life. He has a phenomenal book, which I've recently read, dived into, and literally I was trying to like speed read this morning. I gotta finish this book so I can talk to Lo about it. It's a quick and easy read, but it's so powerful. So Lo, thank you again for sharing your journey with us today.
No problem.
I want to talk about why you titled the book "Half the Man I Was." Why did you choose that title?
I was going through some different titles of what I was doing. At the time, I had lost half the weight, but a mindset of my actual editor, which was one of my junior high school teachers, she kind of made the note, you're half the man you was, or more man than you'll ever be because of what you have done. So that kind of prompted me to stick with that, because it doesn't mean that I'm less of a man. It just means that my body stature is half, and then that also being the mindset has grown to a full man. It was a hard title choice, but we worked through it.
But it's so powerful, and I like now hearing the background story of how you even chose it, which makes it even more significant. I love that. So you, in the book, you have a chapter where you talk about your aha moments. I call them activation hours, as you know. There was a point when mentally for you wanted to fight for a better life. Are there any other aha moments you've had along the way, moments that helped you to be the leader, the trainer, and the speaker that you are today?
One of the, I guess, real big aha moment was my wife had a picnic. She went to her job every year, and my daughter was a little younger, and I had lost some weight, but not as much as I needed to because it was a zip line ride, and she wanted me to ride it with her, but there was a weight limit, and I was still over that weight limit, and I couldn't do it with her. Being that she was my youngest, last child, I just felt like it was something I wanted to do with her, and I couldn't really do it. So that kind of pushed me to a new level. And that next year, I wanted to do everything in my power to make sure that if there were any rides that had weight restrictions, I was available for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, what better reason for your family, so you can enjoy that time with them. I love how you talk about your family as a part of that journey. And there were so many good stories in this book, man. I don't want to give them all away, but I mean, even your daughter and the kale chips, or just them adapting. Because really, truly, in any change in your life, those who are closest to you are affected one way or the other, whether they join you in that journey, whether they fight you in that journey. So you're so transparent in that. Let's talk about Marlo, the motivational speaker. You're such a dynamic speaker, captivating, not just in your words, but really because it's authentic. It comes from something you live, not something you read. What's your message as a speaker to encourage others in their personal fight?
Well, I always tell people it takes some time for you to actually find yourself to want to do it. I mean, because we all say what we want to do and how we want to do it, but ultimately, until you make that decision yourself, no one can talk you into it. Motivation gets a person started, as I said before, but you actually have to have the passion to want to do it. And as I joined the network marketing field, while I was out there, people, my story was to them very incredible. I had lost 200 pounds and talking around other people, because the network marketing that I did was a weight loss product. And being in that atmosphere, my leader at the time, which was one of my mentors, Vince Adams, he was able to get me to get on stage. Now, I have no problem talking in front of 2, 3, 5, 6, 10 people, but he put me on the stage with hundreds of people were in the room, and I just, after a while. I mean, it took me some time. It was, you know, every time I came to an event, Marlo had to get on the stage. It became so normal. My speaking, my flow, of course, it's just like anybody else. I had to tell people I wasn't scared of them. That was my first thing to say. Well, I ain't scared of y'all. So, you know, I'm very talking is not a problem for me at all. But, you know, in my head, for some reason, being in front of all those people in the beginning of me talking, I had to be like, you know, just start the conversation. I ain't scared of none of y'all. You know, maybe you do something.
That's a good icebreaker. But then, as a speaker, I understand it. It's like I'm telling myself too, like, I got this. This is my story. I'm gonna tell it my way. Right. I ain't scared of y'all. I love that.
Right. Yeah. But it made it easy, and you know, when he put me out there to start speaking, of course, I never imagined. I mean, I imagined I was gonna be out there trying to help people lose weight, but to get on the actual stage, because I kind of hid behind Facebook in the beginning. Just I'd make a post, I share it, you know, and talk back and forth with people. But when I got involved in network marketing, it was a different show because all the events that we had, everybody, even not just him, everybody, Marlo's here, put him on stage, and like, oh god. But that was just him. That was just them saying, you know, this guy's lost over 240 pounds, and I explained that I didn't lose it all with that program, but at the same time, the mindset of helping people came from that, and I'm really blessed to have had those mentors. Sadiq was the one that was walking around town looking for somebody to help lose, to show them a weight loss program, and you know he showed no fear coming down here. He was from Chicago, and we're scarier than down here in Kankakee, but it wasn't his area, and he just walking up and down the street. You know, I want to help people lose weight, and you know, one of my friends said, you want to talk about losing weight, you got to talk to Marlo. And that's how that all began. And, you know, he was a great mentor for me also. So just one thing led to the next. And here I am now, you know, sitting on stages or standing on stages, speaking to people, helping them.
I know it's such an honor, though, when you find your voice, right, as a speaker. And you're like, okay, it's one thing to write about it. It's another to stand and to talk about it. And to be transparent, and you do an amazing job at that. Thank you for sharing that. So overall, just what skills now in your journey? Tell us how it's made you a leader, whether it's through personal training or otherwise. How has it sharpened you as a leader now in your community?
Well, it's actually opened a lot of doors for me to be able to speak to other people and see my journey.
Courtney, I lost audio. You there, Marlo? Can you hear me? What's going on? All right. Is he back?
Joining conference now.
All right. Can you hear me, Marlo?
Yes, I can.
All right, perfect. Sorry about that. You were just getting into the leadership part. People need to hear this. So to share with us, we were talking about the leader that you became because of your journey. So tell us about that.
Okay, well, I started a network marketing thing, and in the beginning, it made sense. It made money. It was, I won't tell you that I wasn't in it to try to help people and earn a little income, because earning income is what we do. It's how we live. It's how we survive. But towards the back end of it, people kind of, I guess, maybe they weren't as interested in it as possible, or maybe I wasn't as interested in sharing it. And the money got funny around keeping it real. It's what it was. I mean, my photography business has slowed down a little bit. Cell phone pictures came into play, and people weren't wanting to pay me as much as they were before when I had the photography business. So I went and got a job, and I got a job at a factory. During that time at the factory, it just wasn't fulfilling to me at all. I'm locked in a facility where I can't see the light of day, and I wasn't helping anybody in there, and I finally got fed up the way I was being treated in there. It wasn't for me. I had been working with people, helping them lose weight. I at that moment had hundreds of weight loss stories that I had helped people, with the program that I was using. And going into a factory just wasn't me. So I just decided one day, it was a leap year actually, I took a leap of faith and I walked into 4 gyms, and I just said, look, I just want to help people lose weight. I want to find direction. And I went out to one club, and they said, okay, with your story, we'll let you we'll let you work here, but never called me. Then I went into a second gym, and they said I didn't have any certifications, so they would never hire me. Needless to say, that gym shut down a couple months later. And then the third gym.
The gym story is amazing, though. About how you got into that, working in the gym and personal fitness. You want to share a little bit about that?
Yes. So I went into the third gym. This is what I was leading to. I went into the third gym, and it was a guy there, and I walked in. The first gym, they knew my story because I had lost most of my weight there. The second gym that I went into, they had no idea who I was or anything like that. But the third gym, they didn't know me either. I had never been in that gym before, and I walked in and I said, I'm looking for a job. I want to be a personal trainer. I want to help people lose weight. And the guy said to me just straight out, we're not hiring right now. And I was like, and something in me just said, hey, lead with your story, Marlo. And I led with my story. And I came back. Instead of walking, because I almost walked out, and I said, hey, man, I lost over 240 pounds, and I just want to share and help people, with a personal experience like what I have. And he said, you lost 240 pounds? So I shared my story with him. I shared some pictures with him. At the time, I had several newspaper write-ups, magazines that I had been in. He gave me his card to email him a before and after picture, and also, some of the articles. So I sent it to him. And the name of the gym is Fitness Premier. That's the gym I run now. I sent him something after he told me he wasn't looking for anything, and I looked at his card and I found out that he was the vice president of the company. I thought I was just talking to. He was in the club like regular Joe, like how may I help you? But he's the freaking vice president of the whole company, and I looked at the card, I sent him the email, sent him the information. 30 minutes later, he was like, can you come in for an interview? And I was like, an interview, huh? So it went all the way from, we're not hiring, to can you come in to an interview, which, it came from me actually leading with my story. I almost walked away from a great opportunity, and now I'm in a position to one day be a franchise owner in the facility that I actually work at. So it was a great lead. God led me to the right place with some good people. I really appreciate everything that they've done for me up to this point, and I just think that it's going to lead me to something very, very good to help many people around the world.
That's such a rich story. That inspired me, because it's like you could have easily just walked out and said, it's cool, I'll try somewhere else. But first thing was, you heard a voice, you knew something in you, and me being in ministry, for me, that voice is the voice of God. I'm like, hey, you tell them your story. And so see, right now there's somebody listening to us having this conversation that is too scared to tell their story, and your story is what opened a door for you. And so part of being fit for the fight means you gonna have to get him. You never know who you're in front of that can help you with this fight. You have to kind of get over ego, pride, shame, whatever. And because you weren't scared in that moment, hey man, look, I just lost 240, 250 pounds. That changed everything right there. And so that's so powerful. That's so powerful. So guys, I want to encourage you. You need to start telling your story that you being fit for the fight, it's not even about you. Marlo is changing lives. And it started with changing his own. That's powerful. That's powerful. Well, man, I want to make sure that our listeners can stay connected with you. I want to thank you so much for being transparent with me in your book. Guys, go get this book. Tell the people how they can stay connected with Marlo Whitlow, with your brand, your book, and even if they want to hire you for your services as a trainer and speaker.
Yeah. Well, I have a website which is very simple to remember if you remember the title of the book. The website is halfthemaniwas.com or .org. Either way, whichever one you put in. There is a contact page on there, so if you want to get in contact with me, you just fill out the form and I'll get an email immediately. I actually have my cell phone number on there also, so once you go to the website, halfthemaniwas.com, you'll be able to find information, order your book, or anything that you want to do. Yeah, I mean, I put my heart in that book. It took me over 2 years to write that book. I started that book, and I'm so glad I had the trials in between to stop me from finishing the book, because a lot of that stuff wouldn't have made it to the book if I had to finish it when I started it.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's a testimony right there, because sometimes you start something and you think you need to get it, done right away, but the last 3-4 chapters wouldn't even been part of that book if I didn't wait to run away.
Wow. That's so insightful for me, because like I said, I just finished reading it, and to know, like, seeing how everything concludes, or just where you leave off. I don't want to say conclude, because there's so much more. You're still living that story. That's powerful, man. Yeah. Sometimes we're in such a hurry to try to get things out, but you trusted the process. You got to go through the process, right? That's good.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, look, family, y'all, please stay connected to my boy, Mr. Low Lost It. He went from the chicken man to the dope man to being the man, the leader, Marlo Whitlow. Thank you so much for being here, being my special guest today. It's so good to see you. Much love to your brother and much success in everything you're doing. Guys, stay connected. Marlo's bio and the link to buy his book is on my website as well. I'll be posting more information on social media and also on my email list on melissa.dwight.com. Go to halfthemaniwas.com. Support it. Get fit for the fight. And now you too can be half the person you were, to be better and whole. Not only physically, mentally, and spiritually, but just live a better life. Family, I want to thank you. Marlo, thank you for everything you're doing, man. You keep pushing.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I really appreciate this. It's been a way to try to get my story out there, share it with as many people as possible. It's actually not done, because I'm working on a second book. It's called Chasing 17%, and that's just me trying to get to 17% body fat.
I love it. I
got a connection with the number 17, so that's kind of that's healthy. That's healthy for a man. So I'm trying to break into that next level and do what I have to do in order to get there. So
I'm so proud of you. It's funny. I was looking at this because, like, when I said the word conclude, I was like, wait, his story's not finished. There's a second book, and I was thinking that, and then you said there's a second book. So I love it. Keep us posted about the second book. I want to have you back. Whenever you're ready to talk about the second book, let's get you back so we can get people inspired, okay?
No problem.
All right, awesome. All right, family. Well, you've been tuned in to the Activation Hour. Don't forget, guys, in order to be fit for the fight, it's going to require you making some decisions mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically to be half of what you were. You have to die to self. Your activation hour is that time where the old part of you has to go away so that you can be a new, better version of yourself. So remember some tools that Marlo shared here. Your circle. mentally, who you're talking to, what you're listening to, what you put into your head, then also what you put into your body. Make better decisions about what you eat, what you drink, what you consume, because your body is a vessel that you need to be fit for this life that we're given. And then spiritually, just the word that you take in. The word you take in will be the life that you live outwardly that draw others to the cross. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this week's Activation Hour. I'm your girl, Melissa D. You are tuned in to 108 Praise Radio, where we're always voicing the gospel. I'll see you next week.